Welcome back to the podcast. In this episode, we are interviewing Paxton Dickerson, one of the leading people in esoteric spiritualism, and I am extremely humbled to have him on the show. So I'm going to stop talking. Without further ado, please enjoy, sit back, and relax. Here is Paxton Dickerson.
Recording in progress. She sounds serious.
Yeah, she's like, no.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. I'm blown away. I have Paxton on the line here. Mechanics of Recovery. He is like the guy to go to. I've ran into him on TikTok, and the first thing I said is, "This guy's dressed freaking well." Then he opened his mouth, and I'm like, "This guy is versed well. He knows his shit." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna start watching this." And then I'm like, I got to get this guy on the podcast. But of course, you know how it is. Your guts get all naughty and you're like, oh, I'm not going to send a message. And shit, now you're on my show, dude. I'm fucking flattered. Welcome,
I'm so
man.
happy
Welcome.
to be here.
Oh, that's awesome. So, hey,
if we were in the same city, we would definitely be drinking coffee right now because your energy it's congruent. I love it. I love
thanks, buddy. I'm already on it. Ooh, there we go. We're probably having a cigar as well. Who are we kidding? Hey? That's the way it's at. So, hey, I have a question for you. Just kick it off there. Like, you're obviously quite enlightened. Like, some of the stuff you say is bang on. It's like either reading a book from the ancient knowledge, or it's like reading my own brain. So, everybody's like transition to enlightenment is different, right? Some people will all of a sudden be, will have a car accident moment, and they'll be like, "Oh shit, the universe is staring me in the face." And other people, it just comes naturally when they're born. When was your enlightenment moment? When did the switch get flipped and you started seeing?
Well, wow. Yeah, that's a great question. That's actually an excellent question. So, at a very young age, my father, this guy, I give him so much credit because he does what I don't know if I can do, is he knew that I was not that I wasn't the same belief system as him. He just knew I was not what he and the rest of the family were. There's always an on-running joke that I was like different. And they're just like, something, you're on another thing going on, bruh. And so he fed me what he knew I was at a very young age. So at 6 years old, I was studying sacred geometry and mythology, and I was up in my house, writing spells and mystical stuff and researching and so I did that at a very young age, and I was good at it, and it came naturally to me, and I breached a lot of veils, if you will.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
And I was just neck deep in it. But, and I'm not saying he did anything wrong, but you don't give a little kid
a submachine gun and say, hey, there you go, you're ready to rock and roll.
Right.
Yeah.
So I, of course, used all my abilities and knowledge for personal gain, girls, guns, drugs, crime, things, stuff, and I was a little fuckbird, but, and it wasn't the typical gang stuff. Like, I wasn't in a gang. I was always in a group of people, or like, worked for a bunch of club owners and liquor store owners, and just weird. I refrain from using the word mob, but just a bunch of serious fellows.
Yeah.
And then I worked for the police department, and story on and on and on. So then because this low vibrations beget low vibrations, and then I even forgot about my craft. I even forgot about my craft because everything else became more important. So
when the more financially important things kind of come in, when financial things come in, when the blindness pops in, then everything goes out. The blinders go on, right? Yeah,
it's sense. Like I turned from Darth Vader to just one of the generals flying the ship. Like, I don't even care about the Force. Let's just and just totally do it all out the window. So then by and by, I find myself under a bridge, and then I end up going to a treatment center. And the treatment center I went to was honestly more like the X-Men mansion, because they were all about honing and channeling, and then that's when I was like, oh my God. And I literally remembered all the things I threw away. But then there was shame, because I'm like, damn it. Oh my God. I can't believe you did, So then I picked back up again. And so I don't know if that answers the question, but it's just, that was.
Yeah. It sounds like you were naturally given the giftings, and you were somewhat lucky to have, I guess, a father who recognized that and started like nurturing you along the way there.
Very much so.
You know what's really funny is I've noticed that a lot of people in our kind of our sphere of mindset have these crazy life paths, right?
Yes.
And that's like through the annals of history and of time. Like it or not, the Jesus of Nazareth was a prophet. He had a screwed up life. John the Baptist screwed up, crazy life. Muhammad, Buddha's a big one,
fucked off life.
He voluntarily gave everything up and said, fuck this, I want enlightenment, give it to me now. Right. And the universe seems to give us just insanity after insanity the further we go down. And when we stop seeing it as insanity and start seeing it as blessings, that's when everything starts turning around for us, right? And that's when the world's amazing. Yeah. Totally. So I got a crazy question for you. So like you go on your road to enlightenment, and you go to recovery, you go to the X-Men's mansion, and you get all these, you learn how to hone your superpowers. And now you are openly wearing the jewelry, my friend. Yeah, you knew exactly where I was going with that. Are you comfortable talking about that? Like, I know a lot of people don't want to. Awesome.
Sure.
How did you find yourself in the good old Masonic order?
Most definitely. Well, again, so at a young age, I was studying Goetia law and the keys and all that fun stuff. And so I was already kind of versed in, I shouldn't say in it, but around it, because it is it's separate, same overlapping, separate. So my grandfather was a 33 degree out of Philadelphia. Now now, first, I guess I have to explain, the degrees aren't the way people think they are. So everyone thinks the higher the degree, the more, but it doesn't work that way, really. It's almost like, I guess the best way to describe it is Star Wars. The first 3 Star Wars.
Right.
Everything else is prequel.
Oh, okay. So you get to learn more of the ancient knowledge, and the more the wisdom, more of the history. So the first 3 are kind of like, welcome to the club, and then the rest of it's all like, now you get to learn the history, and now you get to
high as anyone else. That's a master mason is the highest level of masonry, period. Then you learn more in the back, and it's more being of service more than it is more than I almost parallel it to Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, you can go in a meeting and somebody will be a leader. Doesn't mean he has the most time in the room, but he's a leader. So you sit down and he's a leader, and you'll be a leader one day too. So that's the way that works. But so my grandfather was a 33, and he was mainstream Masons, not Prince Hall, which is African-American Masons, because they weren't allowed in the, America had its own history. So, we were fucked off for a while. So, but he was mainstream, which is just ridiculous to be a black mainstream 33. Like, I can only imagine what he had to go through and tolerate or persevere through or overcome or whatever. So, but I didn't know. I mean, I knew he was a Mason, but I didn't really know, didn't really care. I remember at his funeral, he was a very known person. So business, family, friends. And then all of a sudden, 2 armies of people came marching through. One was the Elks and one were the Masons. And I remember going, who the fuck are these people, and who was Grandpa? Like, what secret kinsman cult
did he was a part of, right? Like, was he like slaying the enemy?
Was he a fucking dragon slayer or what?
Yeah.
And so, I remember also in my addiction, so I'm drinking beers and being a little shitball.
Mhm.
And my grandmother gave me her go to the grocery store car.
Mhm.
So it was just a 1974 Buick Skylark.
Okay.
So, but it had his Mason symbol on the back.
Oh, okay.
I run it into the ground. It's parked in the parking lot. The landlord's like, dude, get rid of that piece of shit now.
Yeah.
So I call up a tow truck guy, and he comes, classic fat plumber looking tow truck guy. And I'm literally on the floor in front of the radio because the radio wasn't loud enough for me. Apparently, I got to stand right in front of it. And I'm smoking a joint. And he comes, he goes, hey, buddy, are you a Mason? And I said, like, what'd you call me? He goes, no, a Mason. Are you a Mason? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, well, come here. He points to the back of the car. And I'm like, oh, well, that was my grandfather's car.
Mhm.
He goes, huh? What's your grandfather's name? I said, Carl Dickerson. He goes, huh? He tows my car for free, fixes my car for free, brings it back to me for free.
Yeah.
And
I've heard a lot of those stories.
fuck?
Like there's a cigar lounge here called Q. I promise I'm not plugging them. It's just the only place here to smoke cigars, right? And I went there with a good friend of mine, and I walked in the door, and there's this guy, and he's dressed smartly like yourself, and he has got the big, huge, ring sitting there and smoking a cigar, and he looks over and he sees the guy I'm with, and they know each other. So I had a long conversation with him, and he was explaining all these benefits of like brotherhood and community and philanthropy and all these elements that are just amazing. And the one thing that always stuck with me with it is before the whole world of tarot reading, numerology, studying ancient arts and all that stuff, I was really locked into a very Christian centric household where if I even explored this, it was like,
no go.
Goodbye, right?
Yes.
And so when I started talking to my parents about the Masonic order, they kind of told me it was a cult. They told me it was a religion.
Right.
It's, and I mean, that's one of the things that I'm always curious about, because I know like very vaguely a little bit of it. I know the Solomon's Temple, and I know that also allies with a lot of the tarot, right? With the High Priestess card having like the two pillars of the, Is there like an element to the energy behind, or is it just a gentleman's group of philanthropic guys?
Well, that's a great question too. So, funny enough, I'm actually in a lot of actual cults. So
that's awesome.
So when they said, "Ooh, it's a cult," that didn't really bother me. I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." I mean, I guarantee you they're not weirder than the Vampire Clan that I'm a part of, the biggest vampire clan in North America. There's some weirdos. So, my Voodoo Gnostic. Anyway, so, but the cool thing about Masonry is there's levels to it.
Right.
So, on one level, it's across. Okay, here's a good analogy. It's like a dojo, right?
Right.
Now, some people want to learn karate so they can be a security guard. Sometimes they want to, they're on their way to be in the UFC. Some people just like the discipline of it. Mm-hmm. Some people want to be a fucking ninja.
Legit,
but they're all learning karate.
Yeah.
And so that's what it is. Like in my Masonic Lodge, there's conservative guys who, vote right or left, and they're just boom, and they're church going or temple going or mosque going, and that's just it. Mm-hmm. Then there's people that bleed into more of the history, so they're still but they're more okay, the history of it, and there's some people who just really like the charity work, the being of service, being in the community, Then there's ones that are all about the fellowship, so it's like let's eat, drink, rah rah, and then there's ones like me who kind of blend it all. So there's an energy behind any ritual, regardless of what and people like you and I know that. And so some people just like the ritual of it because it's historic. Some people attribute more magic to it. Mm-hmm. Me, I remember, I waited and I just As soon as they said you can go in there, and I went right to the library. Get me some of those 20-year-old books. I want to. Let me touch them.
You and me are very similar that way. It'd be like, okay, cool. That's great. There's the beer spigots and those are the books. Can I take one of those and bring that over there? And you can, I'll be fucking reading. Just you know, like
I'll be right there. Green beans. Okay, right there. Hold on.
Pour me another beer. I'll be back in a second. Right. I think like that's the one thing about it. Like I would give my left nut to be in the Vatican Library for one day. Right?
Exactly.
Like Picatrix is a grimoire for witchcraft that there's only one in existence, and it's in the freaking Vatican.
Yep.
Right. There's so much ancient knowledge that you would be able to unlock, but it's secured, right? And that's
what Hitler did. He went on a rampage. Every country he invaded, he went straight to their libraries.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't burn them; he kept them.
Yeah, and he changed.
He stole a lot of masonry history records.
And he changed a lot of the records to
rob their pyramids. I mean, he was all about it.
He took their artifacts and he would change it so that it would be more Aryanized. He had a whole operation with Himmler on that.
Yeah.
And because if you could rebrand it, then he can change that energy transmission from that directly into his power, right?
Right.
There's I don't think
and that's why we adopted the forget-me-not flower for a long time.
Oh, really?
Because Hitler killed Masons more than he killed Jews.
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't say that. Jews, he sent them to the camps. Masons, he'd shoot on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got rid of the, square and compass, and we adopted forget-me-not flower as a silent nod to each other. And that's why it's in military now and other. Yeah,
that's fascinating. That's really cool. Like I knew that was happening. I knew that would happen, but it makes total logical sense if you think about the Masons, right? They're a philanthropic brotherhood who want to do.
Hold on 1 second.
Right.
Hold on 1 second. Don't move.
Sure.
Sorry, mailman. So,
yeah, but as I was saying though, it's like it makes total sense why he would do that. If you think about it, you have a group of very spiritually powerful individuals who want to do best for the community, and they have moral scruples because let's face it, the induction program into the Masonic order. I was talking to the gentleman about it. It's so hard. It's like a boot camp for the moral, right? So it makes sense why you'd want to like pop them and roll them into a ditch, right? Like It makes sense. I think the one thing that's been preventing me from like exploring that further personally is just not knowing it, right? Because of the whole, it's a secret organization, right?
Yeah.
But
the key is the biggest Masonic secrets are more about being a Mason. So it's almost like the biggest secrets are the key code to how to get the language.
Gotcha.
It's
so the secret is receiving the key to open the door to get into it. And once you're into it, the secrets, they stop.
Right. And then it's like, not like, it's because how to be one, how to act like one, how to test someone to see if they're one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now there are some other things, of course, but by no means is Masonry the end all.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing. And for me personally, everyone always asks me like, what books do you read? What book? And I can give you books and all that, but more so are the rituals. And if I dare say the entities I work with that help translate, because really like my curriculum, most of the videos I have, that's not written anywhere. It's the beginning of Masonry. And this I learned from my dad even before Masonry, but Masonry, the big thing is as soon as you start, they're going to say, okay, cool. Now master the liberal sciences, master logic, rhetoric, geometry, basics, like literally go back to school.
You know, what's really funny.
Learn all the things that you didn't think were important before.
But at an esoteric level, those things are imperative for your spiritual development.
Right.
Yeah.
Half the arguments I get on TikTok, it's like, dude, you lost logic.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has a green screen, and this one guy, he did such a great job at it. I can't, but anyway, it's like, you are the lizard people. They have come down and you Nagi, and if you blah 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 blah, and look here, what is that symbol? Why is Jay-Z having two fingers? Is he a part of the two finger people? And it's like
the queen's gonna come and eat your brains.
Data. It goes nowhere. There's no solution. There's no problem. It's just uncovering bullshit.
Well, it's psychobabble because psychobabble sells, right? And that's exactly it. My personal favorite was like the Queen's an alien, right? The Queen's a huge thing up in Canada. Like I'm up in Canada, like the Queen's a huge thing. If you join the military, you have to swear your fidelity to her. And everyone's like, oh, the Queen is an alien. She's going to be immortal. The royal family is immortal. That's why they had to kill Diana.
Eating babies. Eating babies and rubbing baby blood on their nose.
Yeah, and like if we take a look, then they start saying stuff like these the political elite. Well, they're Satan worshippers because they have a ritual of their own. It's a fucking ritual, right? If you take a look at at every single religion, like a lot of them are syncretistic from history. Like, why are you shitting in somebody else's pool, right? When your pool is full of shit enough, right? You know what I mean?
The DMV has rituals. Fuck.
Yeah.
The Cigar Lounge has ritual. Everyone has rituals. Rituals is just ritual.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, here's the thing: is like as we were saying, though, there's a lot of energy behind rituals too, right? Especially when you start giving energy into it. But there's nothing fucking wrong with that, right? Like,
what's wrong with creating energy? Depends on what it is.
Yeah, because their big thing is the Bohemian Grove. They see all these like wealthy elite people going to the Bohemian Grove, and they have like the statue of Moloch or whatever, and they're and they ascribe such an evil thing to it because they're so used to America being about, swords, the Bible, and the flag all wrapped together, right? And so they just don't understand that, hey, it's okay to have ancient, ritual, right?
Right.
And it's so screwed up.
As a Buddha Gnostic, it's like, I don't like the fact that, all of my generational knowledge culturally was destroyed because it's like convert, you're a slave, convert, that's it. Just throw away all that other stuff you guys were doing.
And this is the thing that always blows my mind.
That goes along with it, and all the knowledge that goes along with it, out the window.
Yeah. And this is the thing that blows my mind, because if we take a look at the modern day Christianity, right, it's you're taking a Middle Eastern monotheistic system, and they're applying a polytheistic Roman system to it. So now you have a syncretist at the 300 Edict of Milan of them worshiping multiple deities because multiple deities was the flavor of the time. They don't realize that their whole spiritualism evolved, right?
Right.
Like Haitian voodoo. I love Haitian voodoo, right? It starts from West African voodoo. And then, as the deities follow the in servitude slaves, right, they have to relativize. If you don't, then you're going to get wiped out by the Christian God. And that's where we get
hoodoo. That's a hoodoo. Keep it in my back pocket. Sure, saint, whatever. Okay. Actually.
Hey, on that note, so I got some questions for you. What's your thoughts on divination? That's my world,
I love divination. Here's my problem.
Okay.
And I am a divinator, but that is not my major. I'm not the best. That's not my. I do more divination with flames and water.
Oh, scrying?
Than I ever do with cards. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have cards, and I can do runes and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And some people are a lot more channeled than I am in it because they put more into it. Mm-hmm. I just don't like the fact that every num with $30 goes to the fucking tarot card place and gets a dream catcher card, magic, whatever the fuck, and just starts reading people's cards. Yeah. And they read their own cards, then they read their friends' cards, and they don't like their reading, so they give themselves another reading. And then I'm like, what are you people doing? Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
No, it's a message from the divine for you. It's not pick or choose. It's not choose your own adventure novel. Right.
It's not choose your own adventure book. It's not story time. It's not fucking, but like I said, I the most powerful divinations I've ever done and evocations have been with flame.
Okay.
And with water.
So is that more like scrying where you look in and you get the okay, yeah. I've done fire scrying. I use fire a lot in my rituals. I'm not good with water, but I know somebody who is.
And smoke.
Smoke is huge. Smoke. The in Canada, there's a lot of indigenous tribes that use smoke for eons.
Right.
And it's powerful shit.
I have a couple of apprentices, and whenever they want to get involved in that, I piss them off because I say, okay, but you know what we're gonna start? We're gonna start with clouds.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with clouds. Well, wait, you mean they're all over the place and everyone can see them and it's up in the sky? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't shuffle the clouds. Let's see. Let's see where your energy work is. Let's see what. I think what's really going on.
And that I think is really a telltale sign of a proper divinator when it comes to tarot cards, right? Because like there's places where like I've been yelled at shows and in readings because like I'll be like, I'll shuffle the cards, I'll knock off the energies, give it to them, they put their energies in, they come back, I start chucking the cards, and it's like, hey, this happened at a bachelorette party, right? With one of the other guests there, because they read them all one by one, because tarot is an intimate thing. You don't want to be reading in front of everybody. And I'm like, yeah, your marriage is failing because of your infidelity. Bang. Waterworks instantaneously come up. And it's like, cool, let's talk about how we can work by that, because we can heal through the cards. And we start going through it. Right. And then she leaves and she's like, it was really, really good, but it really, really hurt. And then I got shit from another person, the person who hired me, because they're like, hey, you're supposed to be about love and light. Where's the love and light? It's like, you know what, man? Tell love and light
true, sucker.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You want love and light? Go through the fucking tunnel to the other end. Right. Because right now you're in the pits and you're covered in shit. So
you want love and light? Don't fuck over on your husband or wife.
Yeah.
There's love and light.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But people don't understand
it. Something cool in the mirror, wash your face.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Right. And it's like, or my personal favorite is, hey, can you reshuffle? Here's your fucking money back. Get the hell out of here. Like, what do you think this is? This isn't a parlor trick, right? We're not playing Yahtzee here, buds.
Here's a piece of paper. You write down what you want me to say.
Yes.
Read it to yourself and call me and tell me how I did.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention any names because sometimes it's like client reader confidentiality. One and she knows who she's going to be here when I say this. One person came up and I did her numerology and her tarot, and it was like, look at the straight here in the face. You need to start doing Reiki. You need to start instructing it. You've been told this before. If you don't do this, then the universe is going to kick you in the ass, right?
Right.
Oh, I'm going to rationalize this. This doesn't make sense. Okay, next cards. Looks like you're trying to rationalize it. Well, let's talk about what's going to happen if you rationalize it, because this happened historically because you were rationalizing it.
Right.
Stop being a fucking idiot and wake up and do your job. Do what you're being called to do.
Do your calling.
Yeah.
Do your dharma.
Yeah.
Your purpose is calling.
Yeah. There's a difference between vocation and occupation. If you choose your occupation only, you're a fucking idiot. If you choose your vocation, then you will transcend and you'll have a great life. Right.
Right.
So I was very curious about that with you because the presentation of you is lots of ancient knowledge, but you keep yourself hidden behind a veil, right? You don't want people to know how much. And I'm wondering, is that partially because of like these secretive societies that you work with, or is it just kind of like natural?
Yes, no, actually no.
Okay.
Because the secret stuff, if it's actually secret, I never even breach it. Like you'll never even hear it. I don't even go there. But when I'm speaking about things, there's always layers.
Yeah.
Always layers. And you have to be taught Russian before you can hear the Russian poem, before we can talk about the history of what it's referencing, before you know what I mean? It's just, there's so much, most of the work is pre-work to even be in a place to.
So I just for clarification,
yes.
Because in my head, I'm looking at it this way. Let's say we're looking at a picture of two armies on horseback riding towards each other going to war. There's an image of two horses or of a huge battle, and it elicits that emotion and that cognitive understanding. But we don't know the mechanics behind the horseshoes and the nails. Is that kind of what you're saying? We need to know that the finite stuff is hard to grasp onto. All you need to see is the wider angle. Is that the idea?
That sometimes that's that. And then other times it's just sometimes it's that.
Mhm.
Sometimes literally the person will have to put in some work.
Okay.
Like, I can't tell you what this painting means.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
dude,
abstract. You gotta pick it up yourself. Okay.
you gotta put it in there
Mhm.
and pick it up where, and then some people, people hit here,
Mhm.
they hit, oh my God, your energy and you're dressed nice. Then they go down, they're like, oh, what's it? Then it's like, ooh, that was cool. I get it.
Mhm.
And then some people go, ooh, oh.
And then they get scared and crap their pants and run away. Or they're like, give me more. I want
Right.
Give me more.
And the very last part is I do have, I don't want to call it ego, but for the sake of translation, I'll call it the ego of a teacher.
Okay. The Hierophant.
And that is,
yeah.
Whoa, learn, slow. I'm giving this shit out for free, and I had to fucking break fingers to get this shit.
Yeah.
So you gotta put in a little work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
this is the truth. Like,
I wonder in a way, it's one of those things where it's like, if you give them the answer, there's no worth, right?
There's no worth.
Yeah.
They wouldn't grasp it. They wouldn't care.
Mm-hmm.
If I give you a Mercedes for half off, you don't say thanks for the deal. You say what's wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah. You look a gift horse in the mouth. Right. Yeah. Wow, man.
And then a lot of the actual magic isn't in it. It's in what you had to do to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get through what you have to do to get to it, you realize that it wasn't the key. It was actually the getting to it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the real value,
Yeah, it's the adventure of penetrating into the never,
right,
to gather that knowledge, that nugget of goodness, so that it can be utilized properly, and then you understand the mechanics of it.
Right. I tell people, it's like magic. If I showed you a really cool magic trick, you're either gonna go whoa, or you're gonna go whoa, or you're gonna say, show me how you did that. But when you say show me how you did that, in fact, what you're actually saying is take the magic out of it.
Yeah.
Make it mundane. I don't like the fact that it amazed me. I want to know how it works so I can break it and walk away and go, yeah. So, it's like learning and getting it and allowing it to be a mystery and looking for the answer and all that. If I literally showed, and I tell my clients this sometimes in person, if I showed you exactly everything that I know, if I literally showed you all the things I'm capable of doing, you would probably kill me, like you said, crap your pants, run away.
Yeah.
Chase me down like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Or, it's like, or put me in a box and sell me. So fuck that.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Or ignore me and piss me off. You'd be like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, because if you want to see amazing, just look at the sun. When do people start getting used to that shit?
Yeah.
When is it just the sun? It's a fucking sun. Holy
you're standing
shit.
there in front of the ocean, and the size of the ocean is just massive coming at you. And if you see that every day, then you don't take advantage of it. I got that when I was in Europe, right? Like I'm walking like a 2-year-old boy, looking at these totems to history, right? And people are walking by on their cell phones, just fucking around with YouTube.
Get out of the way,
games.
tourist.
Yeah, and like literally the magnitude of it, right? And on a universal level, it's the same way. I remember when I was a child, and it's insane. I'm looking at the moon and just being perplexed by it. And it's one of those things where I think we are educated by technology, we are educated by our surroundings to block those things out, right?
Yeah,
and it's
like your brain ignores your nose, even though literally your nose is in your line of vision.
Yeah,
it is not in your peripheral. Your nose is literally in your line of vision, but your brain is just orchestrated to ignore the shit.
Yeah,
it hurts to look at it.
Yeah, I was almost going to cross my eyes to look at it.
Right.
Yeah. So Yeah, it's kind of fascinating the way like you bring that up, because I know last month I went to a what's called a witch stalk. It's a bunch of witches that go into the woods and they do their thing.
Yes.
And like it was really cool to go and check out and watch. And it was like, if anybody else was here, their reaction would be either these people are evil or these people are batshit insane. Right. But the energy that they have generated was massively unbelievable. Right. You know, hey, here's an odd question for you. Everybody has a different, like, it's so weird. People try and compartmentalize themselves. I'm a witch. I'm a this. I'm a that. I'm a grand guru, you know, twice removed, right? What would you classify yourself as if you classify yourself as anything at all?
In the modern world, I call myself a psychoeducator.
Okay.
Which is a cool way of saying I teach about whatever the fuck comes out of my mouth. Like, you'll get whatever I give you.
Yeah.
And it'll count somewhere. But I mean, I am a practitioner.
Okay.
In a general sense. A lot of people call me a magi.
Okay.
I'll buy that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I'm a magi. I'm a psychoeducator. I'm a on my TikTok, I call myself a perception chancellor.
Did you copyright
that?
That
up.
Can I fucking steal that? Is that copywritten, or is that?
It is copyright. No, it's just I'm a chancellor at changing perception. But because as a job, my goal is not to convert anyone to anything, because I'm not coming from anywhere.
Yeah.
My job is to get people to understand and believe what they already believe better.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I looking at your
whatever
your TikTok,
it is,
man,
better.
Like looking at your TikTok, man, you take some of the most, like, some concepts that for me make total logical sense, like without explanation, and you explain it in a way that even the most toothless 2-year-old could figure it out. You know what I mean? Like it gives you.
People always say, a lot of times I don't like you, but you know what? I have to agree.
See, like
I don't like how you came upon that, but
I think one of the ones that I liked the most was the analogy of how to get rich with the jagged rock being rounded to the square wall, right? And it's very akin to like ancient parables that make logical sense, and they're right there, right? But it's in such a way that even a 2-year-old could understand it. You know?
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if I have a bunch of triangle blocks, I can't put a round one in there. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Which of these is different? Do you know? Guess
what? Now I have to square myself. How do I square myself? And then they start freaking going through the mental processes, and they come to the conclusion. Hey, so what's the best way for somebody to get on board one of your courses so they can start diving into that?
So definitely give me a call, 714-600-3587. Call me up. I will answer. Also, my website is www.mechanicsofrecovery.com. So mechanics, like more than one, mechanics, and of recovery. So the inner workings of mechanics, and then recovery is regaining control of anything lost, stolen, or given away. So that can be addiction, health, finances, hope, self-esteem, sanity.
Hey, dude, I said it before the call on, or before we started this interview, and I'm gonna say it again. You're like probably one of the most insane people I ever know to give your cell phone number out, and you're just like, hey, shoot me a text, anybody out in the universe. If you need me, call me. I don't care. Because I know a lot of people who are like, hey, just do this. I'm actually almost inspired to get myself a number so I can just start spewing out there for people to do. But the problem is then I know I'm going to be exactly like you and so damn busy that I'm not going to have time to even think and process. I don't even know how you get your fancy suits to the dry cleaners, dude. Like, seriously, how the hell you do it?
My life is amazing, but it's weird because on my when I started as a counselor at the treatment center I got sent to, eventually I became an executive director, and we were on call. So as the executive director, man, it got to a point where if anything happened, I got a phone call. And if I didn't get a phone call, I got mad.
Right.
So, I mean, all these little intricate issues, you know, and we had some doozies. I mean, you know, there'd be an actor there, and all of a sudden the fan recognized him, what to do with it, or the FBI came and wanted this guy to question him, or, you know, one dude, you know, his dad just killed his mom, and then his dad came to the treatment center and wanted to grab him, and just, and it's like, and I like being hands on the ground, and I like being involved. My office hates it. You know, they're like, you need to have a buffer. I'm like, fuck your buffer. No, hands on.
It's a very effective way, and it's mind-boggling to even consider that, but it makes total sense. I think, like, for me, I have like a shit ton of people who send me messages daily on Facebook. Right. And so I get a message and I send them a message back. Right. And if need be, I can give them a call on Facebook, and I can figure it out. And then I think that, like, as I said, it's inspiring, because that's going back to taking your occupation and your vocation and making them aligned. So it's one, you know, life. So that's my takeaway. So again, I'm going to throw your number out there, 714-600-3587. Give the guy a call, shoot him a text. I was baffled when you're just like, hey man, shoot me a text and we'll get this on the go. That blew my mind. You know, thank you so much for coming on, dude.
And if I didn't do that, man, I wouldn't know you. You know, I want to know you.
Yeah.
There you are right now in the top of my phone. That's so awesome. It's like,
finally we can talk. You know?
Off the out of the ethereal into real life. Bow.
Yeah. And then back into the shadows to emerge once again. Yeah.
I love you. See, he knows. You guys, you're watching this podcast for a reason. My man knows exactly. It's like, okay, back. Ooh.
Hey, what kind of manifestations do you get? Because I'm curious. You're saying that you work with deities and spirits briefly. What kind of manifestations do you get? Because I've had some crazy ones this last month.
I've gotten physical, and again, I never, from a very young age, shit didn't bother me. Like, if, you know, people are like, I had a girlfriend one time, she's like, oh my God, this moved and this thing weird, and I woke up in the middle of the night and this happened. I'm like, all right, yeah. She goes, I saw a shadow come out of your book. I'm like, I'm sure you did. She's like, ugh. I'm like, did the shadow hurt you? No. Well, then fucking calm down. Jesus Christ. What's wrong with you? I'm worried about the roaches that came from the ice cream you spilled. How about that?
Yeah.
You worry about the roaches on the ice cream. Let me handle the fucking shadows.
I'm worrying about the odor that's coming out of your mouth right now. Here's a toothbrush. Leave the little cat that's wandering around in shadow form on the floor alone. You know, like,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're busy. You know,
they're busy. They're thick. But so I've gotten a lot of that. My most amazing manifestations have been either in the astral space through teaching. Usually, you know, I only do invocations for learning. I'm all about mentalism. So, you know, I'll work with Pan or Thoth or different spirits, mainly for knowledge. Just knowledge and rhetoric and thought patterns and things like that to apply to other things later. And then also on a universal sense, I've had a lot of manifestations. One of the most interesting ones was right after, it was actually after a ritual. I did a ritual to Hades and some awesome shit happened. Whole nother story. Yeah. But so, all right, done. And I always was taught, after you do anything magical, stop and then do something very mundane.
Yeah.
So after you turn on a cartoon.
Yeah.
Go play Monopoly with your kids. Just bring it back down to earth. So I did that. The next morning, I'm on my back patio and I'm staring at the space in the sky in between clouds and trees. So it's just blue. And all of a sudden, bow. Constant raining of shimmering light.
Wow.
Not like the, what do you call it? The floaties? Like when you see dust in your eye, you know, and they crawl. But it was on that level, but just raining down. And it wasn't a visual.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done a lot of hallucinogens and drugs and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Totally on another level than that.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost say it's like the Matrix rain.
Yeah.
Except for it wasn't green and there weren't symbols.
Right.
It was just, and I just literally saw the veil.
That's awesome.
Not purposefully.
Yeah.
And I remember going, and see, here's the logic. And as a practitioner, I've done this for so long. I'm all about the state of disbelief. So first I, wanted to make sure, then I changed perspectives. So it wasn't just a visual.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked over where it wasn't and looked back where it was and went, okay, it's not my eyes.
Yeah.
I said, right on.
So now I have that. See, and that's the weird thing about, for me, it's so crazy. I don't manifest things. I don't do ritual to manifest. I don't do any of the incantations to summon, but they come. They just kind of come. And so what I do is I always make myself, the first thing I do, you hit it around the head, is second guess and always question, right?
Always second guess.
Yeah, because I haven't done any hallucinogenics, but I have hallucinated. Like I've ex-military, well, currently serving reservist, but I was on a training exercise where I was awake for like 24 hours straight, and I saw a school bus drive into the middle of a field and let children off, but there was no road, right? There was no way the school bus could have driven through those trees. And so, if I was to think that was a manifestation, I'd be on crack, because I was, just beat tired, right? It's a training exercise. They're designing this to hurt your brain, right?
Right.
But when like manifestations come, like the last episode of the podcast where my lady saw a manifestation of Baron Samedi in the friggin' bedroom, and she woke me up to deal with it. And I always guess it. And the events that happen the next day, everything that happens in chronological order makes it 100% correct. So for me, what I'm looking at is, okay, so you are here. Your presence is here, right? You are making it very clear that you are here for a purpose, because they're not like cats, and they're not like teenage girls. They don't just wander the mall because they're fucking bored. They got a purpose. So it's always, what is your purpose in being here, right? And so it's one of those crazy, insane things where for me, it's almost seems like it's the opposite. Whereas it seems like you call on them to give you the knowledge. Is that correct? Or do they come to you and you just glean the knowledge?
Sometimes both. I mean, I've opened my house up before and just said, hey, and my favorite thing is, you're free to leave. Welcome to stay.
Yeah.
Like I'm not about controlling them and I'm like, hey, wander around, man. Cool. You guys, when you're bored, leave. You'll be all right.
My house is your house.
Yeah.
So yeah, same thing then. It's kind of just being open to them coming and talking, right?
Right.
That's cool.
And so literally it's almost like my clients. They usually don't call me for no reason.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and they have my phone number.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
That's where I got it from.
And again, that phone number is 714-600-3584. Call our man on the hotline and make sure you tell him all of your problems.
Totally. 600-3587. Call me up. Don't get weird, because I had my ex-girlfriend, I had her on my voicemail, and that ended horribly. And my brother said, man, get her off your voicemail. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I kind of like the whole pretty girl answers my phone for me. So what I did was I got my daughters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so they're on my website. So on my voicemail. So they're like, you call Mechanics of Recovery. It's just cute, and I can't get rid of it now.
It's funny because the girl that I'm with right now, when we were just kind of hanging out before we started dating, I stole her phone and I did the whole chachi, like, hello, you have reached the personal voicemail for Rhiannon. Please leave your name, right? And so I left it on there, and so she actually started looking for work, and so now she has this like action star, voicemail, and like you can hear some of the people almost giggling when they do it.
That's cool.
but her sisters, I put Smeagol on there.
Oh, wow.
So like now everybody who thinks they're calling the Lord of the Rings, right?
Dude, you got to do one for me.
You got it. Anytime, man. You name it. What this means is that when COVID's over, we got to fly on a plane. I got to come and meet you. We got to have a couple cigars, and I got to do your voicemail. That's what it means.
Big fat. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
88 Lounge, Padrones, 1927.
Sounds perfect to me, buddy. Sounds perfect to me. Have some friggin' have some Churchills. Just sit there and just smoke that all night, man.
Exactly.
If you ever find yourself up in Edmonton, I'll take you to the Q Lounge because they're friggin' awesome. It's the only lounge you can smoke cigars in Edmonton. Yeah. Wow. So you can't smoke inside, but they're on an Indigenous reserve. So it's totally different legalities. So that's the only place I know of actually in Alberta you can go and smoke cigars. I'm so lucky there.
I need to do more traveling. And that's another thing. I stay so busy. People come to me, or I stay so busy. I haven't honestly entered that whole traveling stage yet. Where, like literally my last vacation was, I think, a funeral. Like I was like, ooh, I get to go out of town. I mean, granted, I'm putting my fucking stepfather in the ground, but I got to leave. So I gotta do some traveling.
And that's for me. The traveling that I've done has not been by choice. Right? It's like, I'll all of a sudden everything lines up, and next thing you know, I'm on a plane to Europe. Right. And it's so funny. I've been to Europe a number of times. I've never paid for airfare once.
Nice.
I've been to Europe a number of times, and I've never paid for accommodations once.
Well, that's awesome.
So it's for me, I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate. And I think it's more along the lines of the universe just being like, hey, you come here. You're going over there. And when you're back, then you can do this. Right. And it comes with its cost too, right? Like living the adventure because you embrace your calling is an adventure, but there is still the piper following behind you, blowing in his bag and squeezing it, and you're going to have to pay for your actions. Right. So it's
Facts.
It's great. You should travel. You should come up here, man. I'll introduce you to some wild, crazy dudes, and we'll have a lot of fun.
I love it.
I'll come down there and you can do the same for me. That'd be friggin' awesome, bud. We just got to wait. We got to wait until this crap and COVID's over.
Oh, yeah. Things have to align.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We have to wait for the universe to line that shit up so we can make it happen. Because I don't want to pay for airfare again, right? I'm a cheap bastard. Put it on Big Daddy Universe's freaking bill. He can freaking pay for it.
We're not smashing round pegs through square holes and shit.
Yeah, I'm done with that shit. I'm done with breaking rocks now, right?
Right. Right.
So, but man, I gotta go. Like literally in like half an hour, I gotta be out reading tarot at a bar here. So like this interview has went from just chit chatting to like full on talking. Man,
this is great.
You're a great dude. I could talk here for like hours and hours and hours. And you also gotta also send me the freaking number of your tailor, because I think I'm gonna start wearing your fashion. That's okay. So actually, it's funny. Okay, I know we're going back into the interview here. Whatever. I was at the tarot show 2 days ago, and we're driving back. It's a 3-hour drive, and my lady looks over at me. I'm like, I think I should start wearing like 3-piece suits, right? I think that's why Samedi showed up. I think that I need to start classing my shit up, right? Because if I dress like this, I usually have this on. It's a tactical shirt with a toque on. I look intimidating as hell. No one wants to come and talk to me. Right. And if I throw on, like, I have this shirt, and it's a Scottish ancient 1700 style shirt, and it looks nice. It's just simple black, but everyone's like, you look like a fucking pirate. Right. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I want to be approachable, but I want to be comfortable. Like, what do I do? And so like I was like, okay, cool. And then your video came on where it was talking about dressing for a wedding and a funeral.
Yes.
Right? And I'm like, okay, well, Samedi, this dude, like, hell, maybe I should just go out and get some suits. So you got to send me the name of a good tailor.
My tailor likes to make me look good, or so it seems.
Oh man. I gotta start finding myself a tailor. The problem is that it's pricey. It's pricey to find a good suit, but it's worth it. It's well worth it.
It is. And sometimes it's just all in the tailoring. I mean, I've gotten some really nice suits from Target.
Yep.
Yeah. or go to the,
There's a cavalry officer that I know, and he gave me shit for not dressing the part. And he said the easiest thing to do is to go get yourself a nice suit and get it tailored. That's it. Right? Don't go to a tailor to get your suit. Get your suit and go to a tailor. Right. So that's the key.
Right.
But we're gonna go down that rabbit hole, and I gotta run. Man, it was a pleasure to have you on the show, and I think I'm gonna have you back on the show. You know, you gotta right on. Right. Well, thank you very much.
And that was the interview with Paxton Dickerson. I am so humbled to have that dude on the show. Amazing energy. You should check him out at mechanicsofrecovery.com, or as you heard from the insanity that he allows his personal cell phone number to go out to anyone, anywhere, anytime, shoot him a text or a phone call at 714-600-3587. Again, 714-600-3587. Have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you next time.